What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Bay Area Boys podcast, where we talk about all things Bay Area
with the boys.
How you doing?
I'm all right, man.
I got to tell you, I'm a Niners fan. I love that hat, dude.
Thank you.
I dig that hat.
Thank you.
The corduroy.
It had been a while since a hat purchase, and I saw it. It was a sponsored ad, and I had to click it.
You've been wearing more hats lately.
I have.
You look good in a hat.
Thank you, man.
I don't look good in a hat. You can pull it off. I think you look very handsome.
We'll try. Maybe. Are you worried about suppressing the hair? Is that what it is?
No, it's so kind of, because the lower my hair gets, the longer my face gets.
Yeah, I think that's a you thing.
I got a long face.
I think you're overthinking it.
I'm not. I'm just being honest with myself.
Yeah.
I'm doing what works for me.
Yeah.
Hats don't really work for me a lot of the times.
Agree to disagree.
Okay, fair enough. Now, why are you in a jacket? It's like 70 degrees outside. It's finally beautiful weather. We got the Hawaiian shirt on, the short sleeve. We're feeling good, and you come in.
I've been locked inside the studio all day, dude. It's a little dungeness in here. It's a little, sometimes it's colder. We had the little space heater going.
You had a space heater going today?
We had a space heater going today. We like to be nice and toasty.
A little toasty.
In the office, not cold and shivering. And this is more of it's not a jacket. It's a windbreaker.
It's a windbreaker. You're right. Fair enough.
So, sorry, I thought my phone was going off. It's light. It's breathable.
Yes.
And we're just going full Oakland today.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, dude. So let's kick it off, man. Let's get into it.
So California's high-speed rail needs another $100 billion. So originally, the proposed cost of the project was going to be $33 billion. That was in 2008. And now, obviously, we're in 2024. The CEO is asking for another $100 billion to get this thing finished.
Another public transit that needs more funding. But let me ask you, okay, let me start with this. Do you feel like we need a high-speed bullet train in the Bay Area?
I think we need a lot more things than a high-speed bullet train that goes from SF to LA.
Agreed.
I mean, hey, would it be awesome? Like when you're like, man, I want to go to LA. I don't want to do the flight. Yeah, it's just like it's a luxury. It's not a necessity.
I totally agree.
For $100 billion, it is a total luxury. And of course, the CEO is like, hey, we need to finish this thing out. We need to see it through.
Well, that is the most quintessential sunk cost fallacy, right?
Yeah.
You've already sunk so much money into, you're like, well, we have to put in more because we've already put in so much of it already. You're just putting good money after bad at this point. I feel like there's so many more things that we could focus on in this state that could use $100 billion.
Yeah. I mean, highways.
I mean, that's just one thing, but yeah, highways
First
is a
thing
good
that comes
start.
to mind, yeah. I mean, well, it's like, why don't we like focus on like, the mass amount of traffic we have? Like, can't we do some stuff around that?
Yes.
Here, rather than people going to LA just for some fun.
Just public transportation in general, right? Now, would I love a high-speed bullet train to go to Disneyland? Yeah, I would. That would be nice. But it is absolutely a luxury to have that. There are so many more important things I feel like we have to focus on than a high-speed bullet train. So the last update was, 2008?
Yeah.
So 16 years later,
Yeah.
What's going to happen the next 16 years?
I don't know.
Right? Like, where does it end?
So critics argue that the project's escalating budget was initially underestimated just to secure approval. And I wonder how often that happens.
Oh, it has to. Well, look at construction.
Yeah.
Anything in that business is you lowball it because they know, I think, that they're going to get into this situation where, oh, well, we're just gonna think of it, you know what it's like? A listing agent going into a house.
Oh, your house is worth this.
We can sell this house for $3 million just to get the listing agreement signed. And then when it doesn't, you go, oh, well, let's drop it to $2 million. Never going to sell for $2 million. Okay, well, I guess we drop it to $500,000. I guess that's it. But you get it. You do what you need to do to get the project to bring it to the fruition of it in some way. And that's kind of what just to bring it back to real estate. I think that's what I akin it more to.
If you drop the price, they will come.
That would be nice if it cost less, but I guarantee you this is not going to be the last $100 billion with a B thing that they're going to ask for.
So investigations have revealed the project's significant daily expenditure rate of $1.8 million.
A day?
Yeah.
On what?
Yeah.
Bro, they're getting like 5-star restaurants for lunch and everything.
Well, that's my biggest. I always think about like, what is that CEO paying himself every year?
It's some substantial amount of money.
Yeah, but then at what point do you get in like extremely hot water with the money you spent and like what you're spending it on, and then getting like audited? And
is there any repercussion? That's the thing.
I don't know, dude. I mean, that's probably not, because 75. Scroll up for me, Johnny. Do say? Stop saying that. The expectation was that federal taxpayers or private sources would cover about 75% of the costs.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
We got to front the bill for it.
Yep.
Another thing in California that we have to front the bill. You know, I'm such a defender of California, but I'm not blind, right? I see that there are issues, and this is the tax money that we pay that goes to things. That definitely is something I feel like needs to be a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent.
A good segue from you saying that, somebody from the live, being Michael Thomas, said we put the money towards eliminating toll fees.
Not a bad idea, Mr. Michael.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It would be a good idea. I mean, the devil's advocate point to that is it is a way for the cities, the state to generate money. So you got to have some sort of thing like that in there. Not that I'm saying it's a bad idea, but that is at least a great start, right? Is put it towards that, so we don't have to feel like we can't cross a bridge without paying $10.
Well, I wonder how much the bridges across the Bay Area generate every day.
Johnny, see, isn't this nice to have a little producer Johnny over here?
I wouldn't call him little.
Well, I mean that in an endearing way. I mean that in an endearing term.
No, it's extremely helpful, and
Yeah.
we are extremely blessed.
We are
Mr.
blessed.
Johnny.
Johnny, I don't think we've ever thanked you live for being you.
I think Johnny might have to be our first guest on the Bay Area Boys podcast. I think it's only right.
Technically, he's always been our first guest.
Yeah, but
Officially.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
One that really has a say and doesn't just get thrown in a corner and hushed.
We would never. We love you, Johnny.
Well, I appreciate it, but I did zone out part of that, so if any of it was heartfelt, I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
So it's saying that the Metropolitan Transportation Commission states that for the San Francisco Bay Bridge, the fiscal year 2014 to 15 was $228 million in total revenue was collected, and that is $625,000 a day.
Damn. And that's just
And that's
one
gotta
bridge.
be more now.
And that's just one.
bridge. Yeah, so
That's
you're
the Bay Bridge.
Yeah, so you're talking billions of dollars every year. Right? For all the bridges
Oh,
combined?
in all of California, or just mean in the Bay Area?
Bay Area.
No,
Not
that's
billions, maybe billion.
well, that's probably the most expensive bridge, right?
Yeah.
So
but
even
you
if
have so many others. You have
Yeah.
Contra Costa. You have
Yeah, it's probably close to $1 billion.
Yeah.
It probably
Right?
is. Yeah.
maybe
It's probably pretty
just shy. But
Yep.
we don't got to get into that, Johnny.
Yeah, good thought. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's
glad
good.
and I'm glad that we now know this information.
Yeah.
Because again, that one bridge generates $200 million for the state.
Yeah.
So it'd be tough to put a price on that, right? To say, oh well, we're getting one big lump sum, but then any economist would forecast, well, how long would this pay this off for?
Yeah.
Right? Because eventually it's going to run out for that fund.
Go up just a tad for me, Johnny. So despite early warnings from critics about the likely need for additional billions in funding and potential operational subsidies, the project received support from voters and the media, driven by optimistic but unrealistic expectations. I wonder if it's gotten support as of recently. 'Cause I'd be really surprised if politicians aren't bringing this up right now.
In favor or
That's what I mean, just in general.
yeah, oh, depending
if
on
I
what
was a politician, I'd be like, yo, this has got to stop.
Yeah,
immediately.
especially if you are a conservative and you're worried about that sort of spending. That is definitely something. If I were on that side of the aisle, that's what I would start running my program off of. Especially again in California, where that is the direct counterpoint to all of the spending that our government does in this state, and asking us for more money for it. Yeah, that would be a resonating point.
Yeah,
I think
for sure. I mean, it's for such a shocking amount it is. I'd just be really surprised, especially just if really our governor is not talking about this.
So I looked it up because I remember that was on Newsom's platform at one point during the whole recall thing.
While
He
back,
was
right?
talking about and then they budgeted looks like $6 billion like grant to the high speed rail, which is like
A drop in the bucket.
yeah.
nothing.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's 15 times that at this point.
Yeah. So let's look out for that. Let's see what we hear some of our great politicians of the great state of California say. Any other comments before we move on to the next topic? Any other comments on the lives before we move on to the next topic? He's like, no. He's like, no, I don't got anything else.
There hasn't been anything.
All right, cool.
Oh, cool.
All right, so we're moving on to topic number 2. So I guess something that's happening is people who are leaving the Bay Area, specifically when they left during the pandemic, are finding out that they really miss the Bay Area and want to come back. It's pretty surprising.
Is it though?
It is a little bit. I think it is. I mean, me with the type of person I am, like, I'm going to be really sure of that move when I make that move. But everybody's different, right? So I think that, you know, some of these people, yeah, obviously they did it. They went to Texas and they said, man, I can't do Texas. And I've been to Texas and I love you Texans and all my Texas people, but I can't do Texas.
I wouldn't live there.
Yeah.
We go there to a lot of our real estate conventions are there. And I always have a wonderful time. I've never had a bad experience in Texas. I know that Californians love to, you know, take shots at Texas and vice versa. I have nothing bad to say about it. I wouldn't want to live there. It's just not the place I want to live. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. Nothing bad to say about it whatsoever. The people there have always been fantastic. But, you know, it's hard to leave home no matter where you are.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of this just on a really micro level in Benicia. People can't wait to get out of Benicia when we were in high school, you know, because it's a small, really quiet town. There's really not much to do there. So people in high school have those big city dreams. They want to go, they want to leave. But so many of them, as they grow older and start having families, start just to understand what they actually want in life, so many people come back because it's tough. It's tough to leave home.
Yeah,
it's tough to leave home, and it's
definitely.
always really gratifying to come back when you know this place that you're born and raised in is right there still. You know, so I'm not surprised to hear this at all. I really am not.
So this is based off of some articles that came out based off two couples specifically. Some of the factors of why they left was, of course, high housing costs, pandemic policies, and the desire for a different lifestyle. I think pandemic policies and housing costs being the two main factors. One couple moved to Texas for a more conservative and slower pace of life, and the other one moved to Alaska for a more sought-after adventure. So obviously the appeal of these new cities was, you know, lax pandemic restrictions, like they said, more adventure, things like that. But the reality is that Texas, for one of the couples, was just a lot different when it came to less worker protection, having to work more hours, and leading to a reevaluation of their conservative views, specifically for why they went to Texas. The other one was more due to life changes with family health issues, birth of their daughter, and then emphasizing the importance of family support. I think that would be a huge one when they think, you know what, we just can't do it anymore. We need to go somewhere more affordable. Let's just do it now. Then they have that life circumstance. Maybe a family member gets sick and they have to come back, or maybe they have, you know, in this case, a daughter, and they're like, dude, we need the help. Like, we can't pay for all this.
Well, especially because childcare, as we all know,
yeah,
especially after the pandemic, has gotten insanely expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that a lot of people don't really take into consideration when they make those big moves.
Yeah.
Is your support system, right? Your village, that people call it, your tribe, whatever phrase you want to use. When you leave that becomes a absolutely new venture you have to figure out. And a lot of times it comes down to money. And when you're leaving to go somewhere cheaper, usually your pay decreases in those areas as well. Then you have to add on the childcare or the hospice care, whatever that is, on top of it. And you're right back in the same boat you were before. And sometimes you're even spending more money.
Yeah.
Like net money than you did in the place that you were previously.
Here's what's super interesting, real quick, Johnny. One of the big reasons, too, for the family that moved to Texas specifically was that they realized that the Bay Area really values community and family connections over where they moved in Texas.
Interesting.
That kind of surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, that shocks me a little bit too. I wonder if that is due to.
They also said that they felt really spaced out, like meaning there was like, I guess there's not a lot of connection between neighbors and things like that. You know, I don't know what part of obviously so many different parts of Texas, but I did hear the same thing of people and past clients that moved from Austin, is that it's a lot different from what people think, because when you think of Austin, you think of all the weird and the cool in the downtown, but when you go out to all these different places, it's very spread out and it's very like fast food chainy and things like that. So I was super surprised by that, because I think a lot of people, especially here in the Bay Area, we get the rep of, you know, just unfriendliness a little bit, and then just kind of like just chaoticness.
Yeah, but again, I think that stems from, well, we have places like that here. You know, you think of San Francisco and it just being what everybody thinks San Francisco is. But then you go out to a place like Vacaville, and that's exactly the same point where it is so spread out.
Kind of.
But it way more than
more
cities.
Dixon.
Yeah, I just mean the further out you go, while it's still in the Bay Area, as some people would claim, you're still in the same area.
Yeah.
And it becomes it's a whole different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Just 20 minutes away from what you think the Bay Area lifestyle is.
At the end of the day, the Bay Area's pool and the negatives of the Bay Area still outweighed the cons of where they were living.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's expensive to live here. We pay the California tax, right? I understand all of that, but to me, there isn't a place personally I would rather be than here. Part of that is because this is my home, born and raised in the Bay Area, California, but there's so many amenities out here. I mean, people leaving the Bay Area for adventure, that was the thing that surprised me the most, because to me, the Bay Area is synonymous with having so many different types of adventures at your fingertips. You're an hour away from the redwood forest. You're 2 hours away from snow. You're 2 hours away from a beach. I mean, there's so many opportunities for outdoors and adventure. Now, obviously, Alaska is more of the frontier lifestyle, but you can still get a lot of that while living in the Bay Area, and most of it isn't that far away.
Yeah. Johnny, what do you got?
I was just gonna say a comment, because to backtrack, when you were talking about like childcare, somebody on the chat named Brooks Landry Group said he has his kids watch each other.
Nice.
And then
It takes a certain age for that.
Yeah, if you're old enough to do that, for sure. But before that point,
You're at the perfect age, Brooks.
yeah.
I just have my kids watch each other.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
they're getting into like a couple people are getting into like what's considered Bay Area, so it's like backtracking. So I could come back to those questions.
No, let's do it now before we go on to topic 3.
So it's just Brooks Landry said, "Can you tell me if the Discovery Bay is considered Bay Area?"
Disco Bay, I'm probably gonna cut off.
Thank you. We agree on something. All right.
But
Just too far out.
Yeah, it's just tough because probably a lot of Discovery Bay people are like, no, we are the Bay Area.
It's just too far. It's just too far. To me, that's just too far.
Go on. What else we got, Johnny?
Real Estate Creative asked, Los Gatos, overrated or underrated?
Beautiful, beautiful place, but overrated in price. But it's proximity, right? It's what
location.
You're next to. Yeah, location. Yep. But you do get a little bit of like hiking adventure in there too. Great restaurants. I just think when you're in price points like that, almost everything you can call overrated.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at it from that lens, I think I agree with you, because you can go to a city that's pretty close by and pay a lot less money and still be within driving distance of those things. But if that's where you want to be and you can afford it, it's a great place. It's a great place to live.
But if Real Estate Creative has a referral down there, then it's extremely underrated. Just joking, man. I love his content though. But what else we got?
Brooks said, and he spelled my name wrong, is Johnny pronouncing Los Gatos correctly? How do you pronounce that?
Los Gatos.
Do people say Gatos?
Did I say Los Gatos?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't tell.
Oh, I don't know.
Los Gatos.
Yeah. Los Gatos.
The cats. No. It's kind of what it is, isn't it?
I don't think so.
It probably can't be. I mean, Gato is cat. But is that all we got?
That's all you got right now.
Cool. Let's go on to topic number 3. This one's a long one. This is going to be we got quite a bit to unpack in this one. That's kind of why we went through the other two a little bit quick.
I'm ready.
We are talking about President Biden's proposals to address housing issues in the State of the Union address.
Yep. There are so many people who are talking about this.
And he threw a lot in here. It wasn't just like one big thing. It wasn't just like first-time home buyers need a chance. It was a lot of stuff. So we got a good 8 to 9 topics within this topic itself.
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. Number 1, we got first-time homebuyer tax credit. President Joe Biden plans to propose a $10,000 tax credit for first-time homebuyers and those selling starter homes. This includes a specific mortgage relief credit that would provide middle-class to first-time homebuyers with an annual tax credit of $5,000 a year for 2 years, aiming to help over 3.5 million middle-class families purchase their first home.
So basically a $10,000 tax credit for 2 years, essentially.
I mean, it's really, it's like, it's cool, but it's not that big of a deal.
No, but it's something.
Yeah, dude, but it's like, how many people is that realistically helping? I don't know.
Probably a lot.
I don't know, dude.
If you look at, because again, we're talking about Bay Area, right? It's probably going to help with some more affordable houses and areas.
I just feel like he's, with all of these topics, it's like, let's deploy a strategy to appeal to every single type of person in California.
Yeah, he's a politician.
But we just need more inventory. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, okay, cool, it's great, $10,000 tax credit. That's not helping people realistically get into more homes. It's not.
I think that it does. I think that it helps people. I do.
Johnny, what do you say as a recent first-time home buyer?
You wouldn't want $10,000 over 2 years?
Before I answer this, let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly because I'm a moron. Tax credit, would that be just like
it means if you owe $10,000, that tax credit, that tax would be forgiven, right? If you owe $10,000 on your taxes, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but
I thought it was
for
like
each
a
year,
write-off. It's not a write-off. It's different.
No,
than
so
writing it
let's
off.
say at the end of the year you owe $10,000 in taxes to the government. 5,000 of that would be.
Oh, it has to be broken up into 2 years.
Isn't that what they
it's
said? 5,000 a year for 2 years.
Even stupider.
That's $5,000.
Yeah, but I think
Why are you poo-pooing $5,000?
Okay. So yeah, I was misunderstanding, but just from that, like you guys could like unpack this for me. But how would if $5,000 is making or breaking you getting into a home? Like, is it?
It's not.
Are
That's
you
what I'm saying.
Are you
It's
really
not making
capable or not?
you. And it's also saying for people selling their first, selling their starter homes, and it's the same thing. Like, yeah, maybe you make over, if you're a single, man or woman, and you make over the $250,000, that's write-offable. Okay, cool. Yeah, like you get that $5,000 break.
Let me kind of.
It's not what we need, man.
I hear you, and let me kind of rephrase what I'm saying. Is that necessarily going to make it so that people who can't afford it can afford it? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
That I agree with, but it's still affordability. It's still relief, and I think that's what they're calling it, right? There is a relief from people who, if they are like, oh, but we owe so much taxes.
Yeah.
People like us who owe a lot of taxes at the end of the year, $5,000 free dollars does help. It does help.
You're at a very glass half full concept, and I love it.
I'm trying to, man.
Better than nothing.
And that's what I'm saying.
It's usually not you, so that's good. I'm glad you're turning a new leaf.
Is that me? If I am negative, I don't know about that. I try to come at things in a very positive light. I like this as like starting point. I think there needs to be more, agreed, but at least we are starting something somewhere, and I think any progress is positive.
Okay.
We have a comment on that. Brooks said, "Are you concerned about Biden dangling his carrot to get reelected with these housing credits, only to take it away, just like the student loans?"
I think that's every president, politician on planet Earth.
Thank you. You can't look at it like that because then you discredit literally anything anyone says, which is politics. But
yeah,
what are you going to do?
I know Robert Kennedy was talking about how he wants to give every person like a 3% interest rate, every first-time home buyer 3% interest rate. Does that mean it could be done and accomplished? Probably not. I think it's just these things that want to happen. But that's what I mean is like, that's where it's so crazy to me that he's deployed these insane amount of different things. That's like, dude, there's just absolutely no way. Like, focus on the one thing that's going to have the biggest impact, which to me is unlocking inventory. Let's get to the next topic.
Okay, let's
get to the next topic. Go.
I was just going to posit this into the conversation is he can say 50 things that he's going to do. The problem is getting them passed by everybody. So is this a throw spaghetti at the wall and hopefully one or two of them get passed and stick? Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? It's more quality or quantity over quality.
This is when they juiced him up, right? This is when he was like the most coherent we've seen him in like 20 years. Seriously though, this is it, right? Like, what the hell happened?
He came out fighting.
Dude,
I will say that.
It was like the last breath.
Oh, Jesus. I will say he looked competent.
It was wild, dude.
He did.
It was very alarming.
I don't know about alarming.
It was a double. All right, so unlocking inventory, a new credit aimed at unlocking the inventory of affordable starter homes to help middle class families move up the housing ladder and assist empty nesters in Right sizing?
Right sizing.
Okay.
Yeah. So downsizing basically is what they're saying.
So I don't know. We don't have a lot of details on this one, but I think it's the same thing. It's some type of credit.
Yes.
Aimed at that.
Yeah.
But there is more. We're actually new construction. So I think that's what we need, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. I think this doesn't mention anything about taxes. So this is probably, it might just be a credit. Right. It might just be here is X amount of money to help with your down payment, to buy down an interest rate, whatever that is. This sounds like it's just money given to those people who qualify for it.
Okay. So next up, we got addressing rate lock-ins. Here we go with more tax stuff. The proposal includes incentivizing homeowners to sell by offering a 1-year tax credit of up to $10,000 to middle-class families who sell their starter homes to another owner-occupant, estimated to assist nearly 3 million families. It's like, you and I both know, we talk about here in California, maybe in other states this may work really well, but we're talking about here in California, nobody in their right mind is going to say, you know what it was? It was that $10,000 tax credit is what really made me put that home up for sale.
Yeah.
It's just a stupid little thing.
Yeah, but I can see what it's trying to do. It's trying to create, as you mentioned before, inventory. It's trying to get people to sell their house.
And I guess I should just be grateful, right?
But that's the thing, right? If it makes 10,000 people in the whole state of California sell their house for that reason, that's at least 10 more houses on the inventory. Is it a drop in the bucket? Yes. But again, if you add all these little things up, and that, I don't think you should look at it as one event. Look at how they all add up. It might help, 3% of people, but if they offer 10 things and all of them pass, and 10 things help 3% of people, that's 30%.
Compound effect.
Exactly. So I think that might be how, and maybe I'm looking at it, like you said, half glass full.
Yeah.
But the more we're getting into it and reading it, it's helping different types of people. So it's creating some sort of movement in the housing market to get it reinvigorated again.
Yeah. What do we got? Any comments, Johnny?
One that's off topic, if you want it.
Sure.
Okay, so Johnny Barba says, do you think Sacramento market will hold its value over time? The growth has been insane, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down.
Absolutely. I think Sacramento is the next huge city. I make a little bit of wild take here. I think Sacramento is the next San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's got the infrastructure. It's got some diversity. It has the space.
It has sports teams.
It has sports teams, which is a great point.
It's got good restaurants.
It's got good restaurants. It's got water, and you're close to a lot of other, what's the word I'm looking for? Adventure.
Yeah.
Hiking, nature.
Okay, that's interesting. I can't fault you for that.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair take. So are you saying that Sacramento is going to take the place of San Francisco?
Yeah, I think that the businesses are going to start going there. The businesses are going to start moving there. Obviously, people are in droves are moving there, whether it's Sacramento, Roseville.
All those areas, yeah.
What do you got? Do people not like my take or what?
No. Well, Brooks did.
Oh, Brooks again.
All caps. And then he also asked, Matt, what's your OnlyFans?
It's too expensive for you, bro. You can't afford it. You can't afford it.
So yeah, that's my hot take.
I think it's a good take.
Yeah.
It's starting, and plus, it's the capital of California.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that has any sway or anything. But,
I don't think it does.
But still, it can. If it does, that could be something like let's make the capital.
I think the only thing that Sacramento has working against it, and I'm not the only thing. I'm exaggerating a little bit, is the weather.
Oh, it's just so hot.
It's hot as hell.
Yeah, but there's a lot of hot places.
Yeah, there is. I mean, Arizona. People are loving Arizona.
People love Arizona.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. Down payment assistance. Mr. President Joe Biden will reiterate the call for $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-generation home buyers, aiming to assist 400,000 families. I love it.
That's a big one.
First-generation home buyers that's huge. They need something. And a lot of the times what I'm seeing is their parents who haven't ever bought a home before are helping them co-sign down payment, so on and so forth. So that's a great one.
Yeah, that's a great initiative.
One for about 4 so far. 1 for 4 so far. On actual,
for you.
On actual impactful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that one I like.
400,000 families is what that would help, right?
That's a big drop in the bucket. It's a big drop. It's a big drop.
Okay, I haven't read about this one yet. Mortgage insurance premium reduction, highlighting last year's reduction to the mortgage insurance premium for FHA mortgages, which is expected to save around 850,000 home buyers and homeowners approximately $800 per year.
So lower PMI.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's big.
That's huge
That's
because
huge.
so
Yeah.
many people, especially in the Bay Area. So in case you don't know what PMI is, it's basically mortgage insurance. If you get a mortgage or a loan, I should say, excuse me, and you put less than 20% down, the lender that you're borrowing the money from makes you pay an extra fee to basically kind of hedge against the fact that, oh, well, you're not putting as much of your own asset down, so we're going to kind of charge
ourselves.
you an extra fee for that, which can be hundreds of dollars
Per month.
And so many people don't have 20% for a $1 million house. That's $200,000 just to put down on a house. So few people do that. I think the average right now in the Bay Area is around 10% on average of what people put down as a down payment. And if that's average, that's PMI. You get that insurance, that mortgage insurance already put on. This is a big one.
It's great. We're two for two as far as last one.
Yeah, and that's going to help so many. This one, 850,000, because most people don't put down 20%. So alleviating,
especially here in California,
alleviating a lot of that insurance fee that you put on there is going to make your monthly payment so much more affordable.
What do we got, Johnny? Do say.
You said it again.
I think it's a pretty simple answer, but Brooks said, "Who pays for those tax credits for the 400,000 people?"
You know, Brooks.
Yeah,
you know,
the people.
Let's give it the good old. Let's give them our money. Okay, lowering closing costs is another huge one.
Here's what I'll say: I'd rather my money go towards this than a bullet train to Los Angeles.
Absolutely. All right. Announcement of new actions to lower closing costs, including an FHFA pilot program to waive the requirement for lenders' title insurance on certain refinances, potentially saving thousands of homeowners up to $1,500.
Now this, I don't know if you've seen our boy, I don't know if he's watching right now, Jason Cassidy.
He's not watching.
Just got, don't say that. Trying to give him some credit. Just got into, I don't want to say hot water, but he had a lot of controversy about something that he posted. Did you see what he posted recently?
I very briefly was something about how he felt title insurance was just
a scam.
A scam, yeah.
Basically is what he said.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of people come after him for that. But I feel like it was a good question to ask, because why do you have to, on refinances, pay another insurance on something when you've already paid it in the first place? And obviously,
that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people explain the process who are way more of an expert on that thing than I am, and made it sound like it was a necessary thing. And while it may be necessary, not charging as much for it, I think, is probably the next step. If it is a necessary thing you have to have, which it sounded like it was, charge less for it.
Yeah. Charge less for it.
Yeah, and it sounds like people know that that's probably the right way to go about it.
Yeah. All right, here's the big one. This is the big ticket. This is the one that we really need. Construction renovation of homes. I don't know about renovation of homes, but Biden will call on Congress to pass legislation to build and renovate more than 2 million homes. I think renovate may mean offices to housing, is what I believe.
Okay.
Addressing the housing supply gap and reducing costs for renters and homeowners. This includes an expansion of the low-income housing tax credit and the introduction of a neighborhood homes tax credit. So basically 2 million homes. I'm struggling if this is all of the United States.
Where instead of what?
California.
I see what you're saying. Because this is the Congress, and they don't he doesn't specify. Okay.
But based off where I get this information from, I know I'm for the most part signed up for all California-based stuff, but we'll dive more into this one.
Okay, so low-income housing.
Because 2 million homes across the United States is not.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's 100,000 homes. Not even, I think it's 10,000 homes a state, something like that. Anyways. So this one is uninspiring.
Trying to map that one in my head a little bit.
Yeah, that one, it's not wowing me. You know, it's not making it pop for me. But again, any little thing to...
We just got a bunch of little things here.
But that's okay. That's okay. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. You need a bunch of little things. If it starts. If he's elected, then who knows if that's going to be.
Affordable housing program funding. I think this is one we need. Proposal to double the annual contribution of each federal home loan bank to the affordable housing program, raising it to 20% of prior year net income. This is estimated to raise an additional $3.79 billion for affordable housing over the next decade.
More affordable housing.
So this is where I think, like, if we're talking general United States, there's going to be a lot of areas that are like, that's ridiculous. But if it's California focused, it's very, very necessary.
Because we need it.
Yeah.
There are so many, we're not going to talk about it ad nauseum. We've talked about it many times on the podcast before, but we need affordable housing because housing in California has become so expensive to what people make as their income. Affordability has just gotten out of control. So having options where people can start building equity in a house and having a place to call their own and nest is so important here. So this is a good one.
People need a nest.
People need a nest.
Any other questions before going on to the last topic?
Nothing.
Cool. Hot button topic. Last one. We're going to fire off. Controlling costs for renters. Biden will propose measures to target corporate landlords and private equity firms accused of unfair practices and expand rental assistance to more than 500,000 households, including vouchers for low-income veterans and youth aging out of foster care. Pretty good thing, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to hear your take on it because you're not a corporation, obviously, but you are a landlord. So I wanted to see kind of how this landed with you.
I mean, corporate landlords, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know the difference, but it is still attacking.
Yeah.
Not attacking.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great because, I mean, if you think about it, if this was put into place a long time ago, I think that competition probably wouldn't have been as insane as it has been over the last 10 years.
Competition for renters?
Housing. No,
for housing.
No, homeowner. You know, to be a homeowner. That's the thing. I honestly don't know the stats of how many actual like private equity firms are buying up housing, especially like in the Bay Area. So I don't know if it's, you know, have they had so much of a stake in like competition.
Yeah, but I think it's just one of the narratives that we have a lot here just in California and the United States in general is there are large corporations who are buying up so many homes just to basically be a corporation, a landlord corporation. And people don't like that. They don't like when large corporations have control over housing and their livelihood. So this is, I think, an initiative to help quell that sort of fear that a lot of people have about that happening, becoming more of a story in our country. And I do like that they threw in, you know, two of the most like heart-hitting people, which is veterans and youth coming out of foster care. But not that I'm saying that's a bad thing, but I mean, what a lead, what a headline, right? Our veterans and foster kids have a leg up in this country, which is good. I'm not saying that's bad. It's a fantastic thing. I just hope that that's actually who it ends up helping. And I hope there isn't a huge backlash from those corporations that do own a lot of housing to jack up rates on others. Oh, you're going to take away some of our stuff, then we're going to raise the rates to make up for it. You know, there are laws against that, but there's always loopholes for stuff. That one I feel like could get messy. Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of pushback on that one specifically.
Next up, we got California Dream. No, I'm just joking. All right, let's go ahead and sign out. We got anybody else on the live that wants to
Any more comments real quick?
Please.
Just the live video pause. The Wi-Fi is going bad right now, but
it's all right.
Just so it's like on the podcast. RJ said, "Smile, cuties," and then he said, "Rollin'," and then he said, "I see you."
Oh, all right. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of Bay Area Boys. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. We hope you guys enjoyed everything we talked about. Some big stuff happening for California. We will, of course, always follow up with it, check back in at a later date to keep you updated and informed. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, if you have questions about the real estate market, if you're interested in buying, selling a house, anything that's real estate related, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Roland. You can find our information below. You can also follow us on our audio podcast. I believe by this episode coming out will actually be available. So look for it on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram as well, along with our personal Instagrams. Give us a follow. Thank you again for watching and listening. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next episode.